Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing today? Happy Saturday to everyone who's watching. If it's Saturday for you, if you're watching on the replay, welcome to the lesson. Thanks for joining. Today we are going to be doing a variety of different types of grammar. You can tell from the title. We'll be practicing requests, we'll be practicing permission, we'll be practicing indirect questions, we'll be practicing direct questions. We'll use things like instead of, we'll use in case, but the theme will be the same. We're going to be using a lot of different travel scenarios, All right, and as always, I will put the lesson onto the screen, and let's do that now. I'll get this lesson up here for you guys. All right, let me know when you guys can see it, or I'll let you guys, I'll see it as well at the same time. Okay, there we go. There's the lesson. Travel English, but like I said, we will be covering a lot of different types of grammar today. So it's going to be a really useful lesson. You'll get to practice a lot of different functions that we use in English, like, as I said, from request to permission and so forth. You can also see I've given you the category of what we are going to be talking about. So, for example, number one, the category is going to be restaurants. Are going to be where, the situation, the scenario is I am in a restaurant. All right, so every scenario will be a little bit different. So you just have to make sure you pay attention to where you are, and then make a sentence, make a question that you think will fit. And so if we look at the very first one here, let's make this a little bigger. The first situation says you want to order a steak. So you're in a restaurant, you want to order a steak. You're going to tell the waiter or waitress how you would like it cooked. Right. So whenever you go to a restaurant, it's important that you tell them, how you want the steak cooked. It's very standard. They're not going to cook it just any which way. So in order to do that, I would probably make a request, and I'm going to put it up here on the screen. I'm going to use the request starting with could. All right, so could you cook that medium, please? All right, could you cook that medium, please? That's how I would answer that. Could you cook that medium? Now, there's different types of, cooking styles for steak, and we'll make a little banner for that. We can go from rare, and I'll go over all the types. So we've got rare, and then after rare is going to be medium rare. Then we go to medium, and then we can go to medium well, and then well done. Those are the standard ways to order your steak, the standard types of cooking methods. So rare, medium, medium well, well done. There are a couple of other ones that we could do before rare, but I think for the most part, if you remember these, that will be good enough. All right, so what we'll do is I'm giving you a situation. Tell me, look at the setting and then make the appropriate sentence or question. All right, so number one is done. Let's look at number two. And let's get this a little bigger so it all fits. All right, so number two says, you arrive at the hotel earlier than expected. You arrive at the hotel earlier than expected. So in that situation, what would you say? Right, it says you've arrived earlier than expected, and you need to check in. Right, it's really important that you have to check in as well. So in this situation, what would you say? if you're at the front desk, what would you say to the hotel staff? For me, what I would do is I would say, would it be possible to check in early? Would it be possible to check in early? All right, so would it be possible to check in early? Now, the same thing can be said, if you want, when you're leaving the hotel, this is the hotel check-in, but if you're leaving the hotel, the same thing can be done. We could say, would it be possible to check out late? Okay. Now, we could also say, would it be possible to get a late checkout? That's also fine. But if you remember the first phrase, then it's easy to remember the second one as well. Okay, so let's look at next one. We're in a taxi ride. So you need to get to the airport quickly. So in this situation, what would you say to the taxi driver? You need to get to the airport quickly. There are several different sentences we can say here. For me, maybe I would start with either a can or a could. Maybe I would say, can you take the fastest route to the airport, please? Could you take the fastest route to the airport, please? I want to get the question mark in here. Can you take the fastest route to the airport, please? Sometimes you don't even have to make a question. You can just say, you could make it into two things. So you can say, to the airport, please. And I'm in a rush. Okay. And I'm in a rush, and I need to get there quickly. All right. So that you could even say that I need to get there quickly. I'm in a rush. Could you get me to the airport as fast as you can? Okay, so now we've done three different settings. We've done a restaurant. We're using a request. All right, so requests. Okay, would it be possible, right? Or can I? This is going to be more permission. So number 2 is permission. Number 3 is a request, or bottom sentence is not even a request, it's just a statement. All right, so there's different ways to get what you want when using English. Let's look at number 4. Number 4 says you're asking for directions. You are lost and you need to find no a here. Let me fix this. No a. You're lost and you need to find the nearest subway station. What will you ask a stranger? What will you ask a stranger? All right, so in this situation, what would you ask? Now remember, when you ask a stranger, it's important to be very, very polite. It's important to be very, very polite. So for me, when I ask a stranger, I tend to use an indirect question. Okay, an indirect question. That's what I usually use. Now, if you have watched any of my videos, especially if you watched a video I've done on indirect questions, then you know how to make this type of question. But if you haven't watched it, then with an indirect question, I like to teach two ways to make it. And I'll teach them right now to you, just in case you've forgotten. All right, I'm just making a banner. Use these two patterns right here. So I would say either, can you tell me, or do you know? Can you tell me, or do you know? Right, so let's break it down even more. So let's look at, can you tell me? Right, so I'm asking someone a question. It's an indirect question. All right, so basically we're going to be following this grammar pattern. And this is for can you tell me? All right, so can you tell me, then WH, then the subject, then the verb. Now, the same thing, the same thing will happen if we are using do you know? Right? The same thing will happen if we're doing do you know? Right? It's the same pattern. Let's just put this up here as well. Okay. So do you know, then WH question, subject, and verb. All right. Now, if you're asking a stranger, then I would use number 2. Do you know? I use this one because they might not know the answer. Right. So if you are unsure whether they know the answer or not, then I would use do you know? Can you tell me is when they completely know the answer. Right? They completely know the answer. Right? So if I'm asking a policeman, if I'm asking a train worker, they know where the subway station is. So I can say, can you tell me? But a stranger, maybe they don't know. Maybe they're a tourist. So I would use this one. All right, so do you know? So let's make the question here. So my question would be, do you know where the, now I need my subject, the nearest subway station is? Do you know where the nearest subway station is? All right, so that's following the banner, the pattern I have on the banner right now. Do you know where the nearest subway station is? All right, perfect, perfect. Next, let's look at number 5. Number 5. This time we are in a coffee shop. We're in a coffee shop. Number 5 says, you want a latte, but you are lactose intolerant. You want it with a different type of milk. All right, so we've got a lot of things to break down here. So first, you want a latte. A latte is a cafe latte. It's a espresso with a steamed milk. Okay, but you are lactose intolerant. This is a great vocabulary word to know. Lactose intolerant, basically it means that you have a dairy allergy, right? Dairy means anything coming from milk. So basically it's like a milk allergy. So you're allergic to cream, you're allergic to milk, butter, cheeses. It means your body cannot process that. So we say it's lactose, or you are lactose intolerant. All right, so in this situation, if you were lactose intolerant, you're ordering a latte, what would you say? Good morning, HS. How are you today? All right, so if you're at Starbucks, you're at a local coffee shop, you want a latte, but you're lactose intolerant. You want it with a different type of milk. What would you say here? How would you order that? Hello, Nancy. How are you today? So Nancy, you're at a coffee shop, you want a latte, but you're lactose intolerant. What would you say? Hello, YFS. YFS, how are you today? HS, you're not good. Oh no. My stomach can't handle it. Oh no. Okay, so YFS has an answer here. YFS says, can I have a latte with soy milk instead? If you're going to say instead, I would just say instead of milk. But in this situation, I think you don't even need to say instead. You can just say, can I have a latte with soy milk? Yes, Nancy. Lactose intolerant means you can't eat dairy. You cannot eat dairy. All right, so I think YFS's answer is really good. Can I have a latte with soy milk? So let's put that on here. And there's different types of milk you could choose from. So can I get a latte with soy milk? Okay. You know, the other types of milk you could say is oat milk, almond milk. I think these are quite popular these days, especially like oat milk, I think is really popular. So another way we could order it, I'm going to put it down here, is I might just say here, can I get an oat milk latte, please? Can I get an oat milk latte, please? All right, so you could use oat milk as the adjective here. Put it in front of the word latte. All right, so this is, I think, a really popular one these days, you know, especially if you've got food allergies. It's good to remember this type of sentence. Number 6, we're in a hotel now. We're in a hotel, and let's see, in your hotel right now, there are 4 people staying. There are 4 people staying, and in one room, 4 people in one room, but there are only 3 towels in the bathroom. What will you ask the front desk? While you think of that, I'm going to go back to YFS's question here. Oat milk is liquid but countable. That's really good here. So we're referencing this sentence here. Can I get an oat milk latte, please? Okay, so here, latte is countable. Latte is countable. Oat milk is the adjective. So when we're looking at this an, it's referencing the latte. And a lot of times as well, if I'm at a restaurant and I'm going to order a drink, a lot of times we will kind of use incorrect grammar. So for example, if I said to a waiter or waitress, can I get a water, please? Okay, this is incorrect because water is uncountable. Right, so I can't put a here. But basically, the full sentence is glass of water. Can I get a glass of water? Okay. Can I get a cup of oat milk latte, please? But here we just don't say the glass of, because it's common sense that the water will come in a glass or the coffee will come in a cup. So we omit those words. So this is only for spoken English. It's not for if you're writing a test. Okay, good question, YFS. So let's look at number 6 here. There are 4 people staying in one room, but only 3 towels in the bathroom. What will you ask the front desk? All right, what would you ask the front desk? All right, so YFS has got an answer here. Can I have an extra set of towels? Perfect, 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 perfect. Can I have an extra set of towels? HS, can I get an extra towel? Perfect. Supergirl, can we get an extra towel, please? Perfect. All right, perfect. So let's put the answer here. Everybody gave me a correct answer. Can we get an extra towel, please? YFS was a little different. Can we get an extra set of towels? So if it's a set of towels, you're probably going to get the bath towel, the hand towel, the face towel. So you get an extra towel for every type of situation. So that's probably the better one. And let's put that in here then. Can we get an extra set of towels, please? Okay, so now we're leaving the hotel. And you are in a clothing store. You're shopping. You're on vacation. You're shopping. This lesson is great because we're going to go in different situations. I know it's summer right now, so a lot of people might be traveling. So this will be really useful for you. So if you're traveling, you're shopping, you're at a clothing store, you are trying on jeans, but they're a little tight. What will you ask the sales clerk to do? What will you ask the sales clerk to do? All right, so what do we have here? You're trying on jeans. All right, so Nancy, you've got here, could I get a size up? Yeah, you could say that. I would say 1. Could I get 1 size up, please? Could I get, even though at and 1 is the same meaning, we would probably want to say 1. All right. Can I try on a bigger size from YFS? Perfect. 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 Now, you could be very specific. Yeah, don't worry. The question mark, don't worry, YFS. I know. You could be very specific in terms of exactly which size you want, right? So I could say, you know, and I'm not going to say could I, I'm going to say could you. Could you bring me a size? And then this is the size you would put here. Could you bring me a size, 30? Could you bring me a size 31? That would be for inches, waist. When we're talking about inches, it could be centimeters. Depending on where you're traveling, you use the measurements that they use. But could you bring me a size something? Now, if you're going to be using, let's say, medium, large, small, medium, large, extra large, could you bring me a large? And then we always like to say please at the end. All right, so could you bring me a large? All right. So if you're going to use medium, small, extra large, large, you don't need to use the word size. We only use size if we're using the specific number size. Okay. HS, do you have a bigger size? Perfect. Okay. Can you bring me a bigger size? Perfect. Okay. Now, with do you have a bigger size, I might want to be even a little bit more specific, HS. I might want to say, do you have this or these in a bigger size? Do you have this or these in a bigger size? All right, let's move to number 8. We're at the airport. We're checking in at the airport. And in this situation, you have a large bag. It's an extra large bag. And it's not the standard size. So there's probably going to be some fee that you must pay. So you want to ask about the additional fees. All right, so what would you say here? All right, so you're at the airport, you're checking in. Your suitcase is very big. It's an extra large suitcase, so it's not standard size. You do have to pay some money. You want to ask about the additional fee. Right? So YFS here says, could you tell me how much I need to pay extra? All right, you're almost there. Nancy, I like this. How much would it be for the extra bag? How much would it be for the extra bag? This is a great sentence. If you have an extra bag, you're allowed to check in, I believe, 2 bags. If you're going on an international flight, you can check in 2 bags. If you want to check in a 3rd bag, then Nancy's question is perfect. How much would it be for the extra bag? Okay. YFS, I want to just change the order of your sentence. All right, let's just change the order of your sentence here. So I would say, could you tell me how much extra I need to pay? Could you tell me how much extra I need to pay? Let's put the extra right after how much. All right, so could you tell me how much extra I need to pay? I don't want to ask what those questions until they ask. Yeah, this would be answering their question. That's a good point, right? You don't want to offer to pay when you don't have to. So it would kind of look like, you know, we've got the airport staff speaking here. Maybe they would say, this bag will require an extra fee. And so then maybe you would have to ask then, you would ask, well, could you tell me how much extra I need to pay? This would be the typical conversation between the staff and you. No, you're not being cheap. You're doing smart, right? You don't want to pay extra if you don't have to. Okay, let's look number 9. Let's look at number 9. Again, we're at a restaurant, and again, another type of allergy. This time it's not a dairy allergy. We have a gluten allergy. You have a gluten allergy. So if you've got a gluten allergy, you're about to order some type of dish, you probably want to ask about the ingredients. Right? You might want to ask about the ingredients. And this could be for anything. If it's a gluten allergy, a peanut allergy. So what would your question be here? And we're going to go a couple of different answers here. I'm going to go, simple one. One's going to be a little bit more general. Nancy, is there an extra fee for my luggage? Perfect. Excellent. What about this one? You have a gluten allergy, and you need to ask about the ingredients. So we've got an answer here from YFS. Could you tell me which dish is gluten-free? Yeah, sure. So if you're going to be asking about the whole menu, yeah, that would be a good question. Could you tell me which dish is gluten-free? It's a little bit bigger. All right, should fit there now. Yes. Could you tell me which dish is gluten-free? Perfect. Nancy, does this have any peanuts? Because I'm allergic to it. Almost perfect. I would just add a preposition here, Nancy. Does this? Let me just look at your answer again. Does this have any peanuts? Okay, so does this have any peanuts in it? Because I have a peanut allergy. All right, does this have any peanuts in it? Because I have a peanut allergy. Yeah. So yes, no question is great. You know, if we're going to be talking gluten as well, I could say, is there any gluten in this? Is there any gluten in this? Is this gluten-free? You know, simple question. Simple questions always work. Is this gluten-free? Some people even say gluten-friendly. Gluten-friendly. But yeah, I would say gluten-free is better. Is this gluten-free? All right. Let's look now. We're going to move to number 10. Number 10, you are at the airport again, but this time you're at customs. All right. This one here, you need to declare items and inquire about restrictions. You need to declare items. Right. Well, let's say you wanna know about, you know, the amount of alcohol you can bring, or you want to know if you're allowed to bring in cheese, or maybe some type of meat dish like prosciutto or something. And I would actually probably let's change this. I'm not going to say we're at customs. Let's say we're at. Let's change the location here, because we don't really want to be asking at customs. We're probably going to be asking at the duty-free store. The duty-free store is probably where we would ask. So I want to know about if there are any restrictions about bringing things or taking things. So for me, what I would say, you know, how much alcohol am I allowed to bring? Am I allowed to bring cheese? All right, these are different types of sentences we would ask. So one is about alcohol. I want to know the quantity. Second one is I want to know if it's allowed, if it's okay to bring something. Am I allowed to bring beef jerky? Surprisingly enough, you can't bring beef jerky into Japan. Okay, so let's keep moving. Let's keep moving to number 11. Number 11, this one is a common one. I think most people, when you book a hotel, we want a room with a specific view. We want a room with a specific view. So if that's the situation, what will you ask the hotel staff? What's your request? What's your question? Oh, Nancy, you do have a peanut allergy. Oh no. All nuts or just peanuts? That's not good. You have to be very careful with that. Yeah, one of my friends has it as well. You have to be very, very careful. All right, Nancy, your question here. Could I please get a window facing the ocean? So here, not a window. I would say, could I get a room? Could I get a room facing the ocean? Could I get a room facing the ocean? Okay. We could also just say, can I get an ocean view? You could say, let's see here, could, not cloud, but could I get a room with an ocean view? Could I get a room with an ocean view? All nuts. Okay. You have to be very careful. Nancy, be very careful when you eat any type of curry, right? A lot of curries, not a lot of curries, some curries surprisingly have nuts in them. Like the famous curry that everybody kind of loves is butter chicken. That actually has cashew nuts in it. All right, so can I get a room with an ocean view? If I want to be even more polite, would it be possible to get a room with an ocean view? Right, so would it be possible to get a room with an ocean view? This one's a little bit more polite. I'm using would it be possible. Okay, let's go now back to a restaurant. You want to reserve a table for 7 people, and if possible, you'd like a private room. So you want to reserve a table for 7 people, and if possible, you would like a private room. What would you ask here? For me, if I'm making a reservation at a hotel, or sorry, at a restaurant, I'm probably telephoning, right? And if I'm telephoning the person, I'm probably just going to say, I'd like to make a reservation for 7 people on, let's say, the 10th of August. Okay, August 10th is fine as well. And I'd like to reserve a private room if possible. This is very, very polite. Very, very polite. Nancy, perfect. Do you have a room available for 20 people? Excellent. Excellent. Yours is much shorter, much simpler. I think yours is probably better than mine. Right? It's always good to be very simple, and your sentence was simple. So yeah, I kind of like yours better than mine. Mine's quite long. All right, and that's it. Excellent job. All right, let's move on to number 13. Number 13. This is really popular. If you're traveling these days, and everybody, wants to inquire about tax-free shopping, right? Because you're not living in that country, and you don't necessarily need to be paying any taxes on anything you've bought. All right, so it's always really good to ask about this. Not every store offers it. Not every store offers it. Some bigger stores, some big department stores in Japan will offer it. Right. So I'm giving you a hint there because I'm using the word offer. Some restaurants offer it. Sorry, some stores offer it, some do not. Okay, so offer is a key word here. All right, so that's what I would do. I would use the word offer in my answer. And I'm going to make a yes, no question. So I will ask, do you offer tax-free shopping for tourists? Do you offer tax-free shopping to tourists? All right. Great. Let's keep moving. Remember, if I'm moving too fast for you, don't be alarmed. You can always answer previous questions. I'll check them for sure. All right. Also, anybody who's watching this on the replay, I know people right now watching it live. It's, I know who you are. It's great to see you and have you here. If you're watching on the replay and you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. All right, number 14 here. I like this one as well. Especially if you're traveling with friends, you want to split the bill. You don't want to pay for everyone. You want to separate the bill. We say split the bill. All right, and I like this. It's a great one. I think that this English right here is very commonly used in America and Canada, in Australia and the UK. We don't want to pay with one bill. We want, I want to only pay for myself, right? So that's splitting the bill. Old idiom would be go Dutch. Go Dutch. Go Dutch means you split the bill. So what I would ask, when I'm at a restaurant, I would ask the waiter or I would ask the waitress, could we get separate checks, please? Let's put a comma here. Could we get separate checks, please? All right, this is the best way to ask for the waiter or waitress to split the bill. Could we get separate checks, please? Okay, does that make sense? I think this is the best sentence, so try to remember this phrase. Okay, let's move on to number 15, recommendations. You want to know the best places to visit in the city. So maybe you're asking the hotel concierge. Maybe you're asking someone at a restaurant or information, tourist information. You want to know the best place to visit in the city. For me, whenever I want to ask this question, I generally don't ask the hotel staff because they usually give me the standard answer that any place that the hotel has a connection with. So I always like to ask just local people. Like if I go to a cafe, I'll ask the barista. If I'm at a bar, I'll ask the bartender. If I'm shopping, I'll just ask the sales clerk. These people have no, influence. They have no sort of benefit from lying to me. They're going to tell me what they feel is the best recommendation. Hotels, the staff will tell me what they're supposed to tell me, what the hotel tells them to tell me. So I generally like to just ask the local people. So if you want to know the best places to visit in the city, what question would you ask? All right. So, I would, again, it'd be, can you? Standard question would be, can you recommend some must-see places in the city? Can you recommend some must-see places in the city? I always ask this one. Can you recommend some non-touristy things to do? Can you recommend some non-touristy things to do? Because sometimes I don't want to do, like, I don't want to be where all the tourists are. I don't want to do tourist things. So I'll ask, yeah, can you recommend some non-touristy things to do? And this works for anything. Like if you wanted to, if you're at a restaurant, change the do to eat. Can you recommend some non-touristy things to eat? Right? Generally, when we go to a restaurant, when we go places, we do what's famous there. But maybe the locals do something different. All right, Nancy, I like that. What place do you recommend for tacos? Excellent sentence. Perfect sentence. And I'm jealous, Nancy, because I know you're in Texas and you got good tacos over there. You got really good tacos everywhere, and you got good barbecue. So super jealous. We don't have that many great taco places here in Tokyo. All right, let's do a few more and then we'll call it a lesson because I do need to get to my school for a day of face-to-face lessons. Let's go number 16. Number 16, you're at the hotel. You're at a hotel. You need to wake up early for an early morning flight. You need to wake up early for an early morning flight. So what would you ask maybe the hotel staff to do? What would you ask the hotel staff to do in this situation? So for me, I know that every hotel will have an alarm clock. And I know we all have, smartphones and stuff like that with alarms on it. But for some reason, if something is really important for me in the morning, especially like an early morning flight, I always want like an extra alarm. I want to make sure that I wake up. So in this situation, oh, there we go. Supergirl has answered it. Can I have a wake up call at 6 a.m.? Perfect. Can I have a wake up call? Okay. Can I get a wake up call also? Have or get, both would be great. Nancy, God willing, we're going to go to Japan in 2 years. What places do you recommend? Definitely Tokyo, Nancy. That's a great sentence, by the way. Your grammar, the sentence is perfect. That's a great thing to ask someone who's been to Japan, who lives in Japan. Perfect questions. And to answer your question, definitely Tokyo. Definitely Tokyo. There are other great places in Japan, and if you've got a lot of time, then try to go to all of them. But if you can only go to one city, Tokyo is where you want to be. It's the Mecca of Japan. It's where everything is. It's what everybody imagines Japan to be. And then in Tokyo, there's a lot of things to do. I like to recommend kind of doing cultural things mixed with chaotic things. So you want to go to the shrines, the temples, which are very Zen-like. But then you want to walk down a street where there's like a million people walking, and it's very like so chaotic, so busy. So it's that sort of that Chinese yin and yang. So we've got hotel services here. Yeah, so could I get, and then have as well. Okay, so here we're going to always say for plus time. We don't generally use at. If you said at, it's fine, but we generally are going to use for here. Could I get a wake-up call for 6 a.m.? All right, those are hotel services. The next area, okay, airport security. Airport security. You need to know the policy about shoes. All right, and this is something that's quite interesting because if you're in America, or if you're visiting America and you're going through security, you do need to take off your shoes. You have to take off your shoes. Your shoes will go through the scanner, you know, where you put your bag, you put your laptops, it goes through that scanner. Your shoes also need to go in there. So when you're going through security in the US, you walk through the metal detector with no shoes on. So, but it's not every country. It's not every country. In the US, yes. But not every country is like that. So if you're going to Canada, if you're going to Australia, if you're going to New Zealand, the UK, if you're coming to Japan, it's important to know if you have to do that or not. Supergirl here, God, could you tell me if I need to take my shoes off here? Yeah, perfect. Could you tell me if I need to take off or take my shoes off here? Perfect. Very, very polite, Supergirl. And yes, Kyoto as well, Supergirl. To Nancy, yes, Kyoto as well. Kyoto is really, really, really. Kyoto was the old capital of Japan. Yeah, so could you tell me if I need to take my shoes off here? You know, very polite, less polite. Do I need to take off my shoes? Do I need to take off my shoes? Yes, it's always, that's a very good point, Supergirl. It's always best to be polite, especially if you're going through security at an airport, right? The more polite you are, the more polite they'll be, and it's just a smoother overall interaction. Yes, they are scary. They are scary. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do one more, and I'm going to try to find it. Number 21. Let's do number 21, and number 22 is for homework. Okay, this one is for homework. So number 21 we'll do now. 22 is for homework. You want to use the hotel's pool outside of normal hours. You want to use the hotel's pool outside of normal hours. So normal hours means the listed hours that are on the sign. So maybe the pool hours are from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. Now you want to use the pool outside of those hours. What would you ask in this situation? If you're trying to use the pool outside of those hours, what would you ask? And I'm going to use a different sentence that I haven't used today yet. I think it's important to try to have some variety. So what I would say here would be, would it be all right? Okay, I've used would it be possible. Here I'm going to use all right. Would it be all right to use the pool at, and then you can give your specific time. Okay, or would it be possible? Would it be all right to use the pool after hours? Would it be all right to use the pool after hours? Okay, Supergirl, could I use the pool outside of regular hours? Outside of the regular hours. All right, so we got could I? I've used a different one. Would it be all right? Would it be okay? Would it be possible? All right, and the last one is going to be for homework. That's your homework number 22. So anybody who's watching this on the replay, if you're watching right now, put this into the comment section after the live lesson is done. That will be your homework. Put it in now. That's fine. You can. Number 22, you're at a restaurant and you want to order a Cobb salad, but with a different dressing. Okay, so Cobb salad is a famous American salad. It usually, it customarily comes with blue cheese salad dressing. So blue cheese dressing. So here you don't want blue cheese dressing. You want a different dressing. So you need to ask that. You need to ask the waiter or waitress this. That is your homework. You're very welcome, Supergirl. Thank you for joining. Thank you. I hadn't seen you for a while, so it's nice. It's nice to have you back, and I'm glad you always learn something new. That's great. Today, so many different types of grammar we're using, so many different types of situations. It's travel season. It's summer, so hopefully these phrases help. Nancy, is it okay if we stay a little longer in the pool? Perfect. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right, that's perfect sentence, Nancy. Is it okay if we stay a little longer in the pool? Excellent. You should be found on the viewers. Yeah, I don't actually understand YouTube's algorithm, so all I do is I try to make some good lessons and hopefully people enjoy it. All right, so number 22 for homework. And any questions anybody has, feel free to ask me in the comment section. I appreciate everyone. I appreciate everyone's hard work today as well. Great sentences, great English, great studying. My next live will be next week during the week. I'll put my schedule out so you can see it. Thank you, Supergirl. Yes, stay positive. I agree. I think it's really important. It's important to be positive, optimistic, good energy. So thank you. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Well done. Thank you very much. I do need to run. I need to jump to go to my school now, and I have a full day of lessons there. So until the next lesson, I appreciate you all. Hope you guys had a great time. Be safe and have a great weekend. See ya.